I tell you, this is my favorite question from the SBA Maths 2023 paper. And you know what we need to do? We need to fill in the numbers in these boxes, right? So what we should do, 1 plus 7 is 8. And then, no, that's not what we're supposed to do. So the key thing to look out for in these questions is the operator. Because it's never a big subtraction sign there. So we're actually not adding, we are subtracting. We are subtracting. So let's try this again. So 7 minus 1 won't give us a positive answer there. So we need to steal 1 from that 2. It becomes 1, 11. This is the only time stealing is allowed. 11 minus 7 is 4. We got the first one out. 1 minus 3. No positive answer can be given there. So something is borrowed here. We get 11. So we did cross something and it dropped, but we don't know what it is quite yet. 11 minus 3 is 8. Good. This is actually a pretty tough question for students this age, you know. Maybe you can pause the video at the start and give it to someone and see if they can get it out. And then we need to subtract in such a way that we get 5. Oh boy. And then when we subtract here, we got 6. So it means this went down to 8 and this came up to something that when subtracted gave us 5. All right, this is a lot. So maybe 11, yes, because 11 minus 6, we know that subtraction fact, that's 5. So this was 1 before. So you understand? This was 1 and we brought across the 1. But then, wait, we did borrow, we did steal something from this earlier on, so this had to have been 2. That's the rough coat, the first paint, first coat of paint. Let's try this again with the numbers that we have here. I'm getting 2 and I'm getting 4. 1 minus 7 couldn't happen, so we took 1 from this. It's 1, 11 minus 4. 1 minus 3 is, you see how it's working on there? We borrowed 1, not borrowed, we never given it back. We stole 1 from that. 11 minus 3 is 8. Well, 1 minus 6 can't give us a positive answer, so there we go, borrowing again, not borrowing, taking. 11 minus 6 is 5, and 8 minus 2 is 6. Do you think you can do this question if you're an adult? Can you do a question like this? So this is a question, the first question in section 2 of the SBA Maths paper. Question 22 from the SBA Maths paper this year was very interesting, and it's my favorite question. It's 6 minus 2 and 5 over 14. Tell me if you understand what's happening here. You understand this? We actually split the 6 into a mixed number, 5 and 14 over 14. Since 14 over 14 is 1 and mixed numbers, there's a plus that's understood here. So this is like 5 plus 1, which is 6. So it's the same thing we're writing back essentially. And the reason that we are doing this is because, look at this, the denominators are the same here now, and then we can just subtract like normal. 14 minus 5 is none other than 9 over 14. I didn't even have need for this equal sign down there. Marks running, 2 marks running here. But there's another way that students normally approach this. It's just a different way in the style they write it. They'll start up like this. They'll size up the question like this with the wholes and the fraction. The wholes are considered. 6 minus 2 is 4. And then we deal with the fractions. There's nothing here, so we put 0 minus 5 over 14. And we are trained from birth. If we encounter this problem, we're going to have to take 1 from the 4. And that 1 transports over here using this denominator. So we'll put 14, and we'll put 14 over 14 to make the 1. Minus 5 over 14, and we end up with the same 9 over 14. Join the 2 together, and we get our answer just like before, that we can put in our little answer spot right there in the SBA paper. Question 23 from this year's SBA past paper is my favorite question. I believe they use the name Karen in this question. Karen uses 0.65 meters of cloth to make 1 skirt. How many meters of cloth would she need to make 12 similar skirts? So if you read the question, or you did a question like this, you may be thinking that 12 skirts should take 0.65 multiplied by 12. If you're thinking to do that, you are correct. Multiply by this on this side. Make sure you don't do no transposition errors there. 65 by 12. Hold on. Why am I multiplying 65 by 12 and not 0.65? Well, I'm kind of like ignoring the decimal point. I'll put it back in the end. And I'll do them one at a time. So 1 by 65 is 65. And then 2 by 65 is, what is that? 130, but let's do the long way. 2 by 5 is 10. Put the 0 there. 2 by 6 is 12 plus 1 is 13. So this is a little more older school style of multiplying, but I still use it all the time and I find students grab it. So this is 0.8780, but don't forget to move back the points. 1, 2, bang, we have 7.8 meters. Is beautiful. There are more questions in section 2 and I'm doing a series, have you noticed? And this is the third question. We'll do a next one and a next one and a next one, and we'll do all the questions in section 2. This is an exquisite, beautiful question from the 2023 SBA Maths paper. My favorite question. Watch this question. Kim and Ben estimated a solution to the following problem. This is the problem here. 60 times 18. So Kim estimated that it's 600 and Ben estimated that it's 1200. Now you might be saying to yourself, this is what they're asking people, children in 2023? Yes, they're asking people, children, this in 2023. They're actually telling you that somebody said this is the answer and someone said this is the answer. And the child, the student, is expected to figure out who correct and why they correct. The answer that you have to put is that Ben has the better estimate. This is a technique I call estimating by rounding off. Estimating by rounding off. So estimating by rounding off, you normally round off to the nearest 10. In this case, the nearest 10, and the nearest 10 here would be 20. And 20 times 60, this is the answer here. So he did it properly. What Kim did is Kim rounded down. So 18 was rounded to 10, which is incorrect. And hence 60 times 10 gave her 600, but as I said, that's incorrect because 18 is better rounded to 20. And now 60 times 20, when you multiply by 10, 60 times 10 with Kim was easy because you just added 0, 600. When you multiply by multiples of 10, 60 times 20, you can still just add the 0, but don't forget the 2. So 60 times 20 would be 600 multiplied by 2, which is 1200. Ben doing the Lord's work here. Ben is estimating like a boss. So if you are ever in a situation where you need to estimate 60 times 18, you should get somewhere around 1200 because you'd have rounded up the 18 to the 20. 20 is closer in estimating than 10. And you should be able to put this into words. If you are looking for SBA Maths solutions, then look no further than kerwinspringer.com and you can get your SBA Maths solutions and your CSEC Maths solutions as well. Here is another question from the SEA Maths past paper. It's my favorite question. Of course, it's my favorite question. So look at this. Shop A and Shop B selling some milk. So Shop A is selling 4 packets of milk. Shop B is selling 3 packets of milk, but they throw in this container, both of them with $26. Price of the container is $3.20, and we need to find the difference in the price of the packet of milk in Shop A and Shop B. 3 marks. I think you can agree with me that a packet of milk in the case of Shop A is going to cost the $26 divided by 4. What is that? 4 could go into 26 6 times, remainder 2. 4 could go into 20. 650? 650 earlier. 650 for a packet of milk in Shop A. Now in Shop B, before I divide by the 3 packets of milk, I'll need to subtract the cost of 1 container, which gives me 26 minus the 320 for the price of 1 container, $22.80. And now if I divide this by 3, 3 can go into 22 7 times, remainder 1. 3 can go into 18 6 times, 7.60, $7.60 for 1 packet of milk. Shop B, 760. Shop A, 650. Now you might be watching this here and saying, we're done. No, we're not done. We need to find the difference in the price of milk. So we still need a little extra working where we subtract the two prices of milk from the two different stores, $7.60 minus $6.50, and you get $1.10. Now we're done. Now we collect with 3 marks and we go. So that's the 25th question, and this series is going well so far. I think I will do a couple more questions in this series, and you can see how good you are in the SEA question. This is it. This is an unequal sharing question. The first one out the blocks in this year SEA Maths paper. So you know this is my favorite question. Andy, Tom, and Brad sharing $85 among themselves. Can you do this? Wait. Can you do this? Are you an adult? Can you do this question? Andy receives $10 more than Tom, while Brad receives $20 more than Andy. So this is a little method that's quite popular on my channel now, where Andy receives 10 more than Tom. So we put Tom as receiving like a little, sometimes I call it the block method. We put Tom to have a block, and Andy has 10 more on the block. And how much does Brad have? Brad receives 20 more than Andy. So Brad has the same thing Andy gets, which is the block plus 10, and he has a little 20 extra. So how do you begin your unequal sharing question? By removing the extras, of course. Removing excess. 85 minus 20 minus 10 minus 10. So 85 minus 40 gives us 45. It means the 3 green blocks must add up to be $45. And one of them would be 45 divided by 3, which is, 45 divided by 3 is $15. And now we are in the position to tell how much Tom, Andy, and Brad will get. Tom gets the green block, which is $15. Andy gets the green block plus 10, $25. And of course, our boy Brad, he will get the 15 plus 10 plus 20. That's 15 plus 30. That is $45. And if we add up all of this, will this give us back 85? It most certainly will. It most certainly will. Take a look at this question. The cost of a bag is 3 times the cost of a cap. The total cost of 2 bags and 3 caps is $180. What is the cost of 1 cap? Oh my gosh. My favorite question out of the paper. But how do you do it? The trick is, since we know the cost of a bag is actually 3 times the cost of a cap, we can say 1 bag is worth 3 caps. No cap. Moving along with the question, the cost of 2 bags and 3 caps is $180. So 2 bags and 3 caps really stand for, secretly between me and you, 2 bags is really 6 caps, because 1 bag is 3 caps. So this is really 6 caps and our next 3 caps. And 6 and 3 is 9 caps. Lots of caps here, boy. And if 9 caps is worth $180, then 1 cap would be worth 180 divided by 9. Y'all catch where this is going? You get $20 for the cost of 1 cap. And wait, that's the end? That's the answer already. For the most beautiful question, I find the working was a little scanty. But we can take it, bestow upon us our 3 marks, and look out for the next video. The first 4 elements of a pattern are shown below. How many squares will form the 11th element? Pause the video and try to do the question before I'm done. Most people do this question using the long way. So they count how many here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What? 6 squares? 6 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. So add on 3. Yeah. Everyone keep adding on this 3 here. So that might be 12, 15. So the 4th is 15. 5th will be 18. We're on the 3 time table, so something like this might happen. And this is the long way, where you just put your 18, then 21, 24, 27, 30. So by the time you reach the 11th element, that is 36, and you kind of count out each element like that. That's the long method earlier. Let's try to do it a short way, a real big brain method here. Well, the first element has 6 squares, and each consecutive element keeps adding 3. So how many elements are there between the first element and the 11th element? 11 minus 1, there's 10. So it's going to be the 6, and you're going to have to add on 3 10 times. 3 times 10 is 30. 30 plus 6 is 36, and we out here looking smart, we intelligent, we ready for the thing. Alright, so join me next time as we continue the SEA series, and we will be looking at question 29. Love and blessings. Wait. Those of you all still here, congratulations. You're going to get some extra marks. We actually have a next part in the question. It's one of the worst feelings to leave out a part of a question and lose some marks on some easy thing, right? They wanted you to state the pattern rule. So, okay, we got to use English here and put some nice words to this. So this is it in a nutshell. The first element has 6 squares and each consecutive element increases by 3 squares added to the end of the rows of the previous element. Now this is a lot here. I feel they're just looking for you to say it increasing by 3 squares every consecutive element. But this is, just securing the bag completely. Draw a rectangle with an area of 18 centimeters square on the grid below. So like all of the questions in the SCA paper, this is my favorite question. There's a lot of different rectangles you could draw here. SCA, why is that one? Why? Because you want to make 18 centimeters squared and length by breadth. We could have factor pairs happening here. So you could have a rectangle that's 2 by 9. We could have a rectangle that's 9 by 2. Switch the sides, or we can have like 3 by 6 or 6 by 3. So there's a whole heap of different rectangles can happen here. Let me just draw some examples. Right, here we have a 3 by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So something like this could have been done. Somebody could draw this rectangle anywhere on this once it's covering these squares properly. So many options. Here I have a 9 by 2. Is this 9 by 2? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 by 2. 18 centimeters squared. Yeah, so we have a 9 by 2 here. This works as well. And I mean, this is an easy question. I don't know why I make a whole video to show all this question. The next question will be better. Quasi scene, I have a real best question here for you all from the SCA paper from this year. My favorite question. A clock shows that the time in Trinidad is 6 a.m. The clock is 15 minutes slow. The time in Trinidad is 2 hours ahead of time in Canada. What is the correct time in Canada? Now, this is a question that people make lots of silly mistakes on it. So take your time when you're coming up with your answer. I'm going to do it just now, but you come up with your answer and see if you do the thing proper. First thing I would do is get the correct time in Trinidad. This clock is 15 minutes slow, so the correct time is actually 6 a.m. plus 15 minutes is 6:15 a.m. We fix the clock. Next thing I'm going to do, and this is going to give me the answer actually, is get the time in Canada. And Canada is, what is it? Trinidad is 2 hours ahead of the time in Canada. That means we see in the 6 o'clock before them now. So 6 and you go back, you have to go back. Time in Canada is 2 hours behind. So we'll have to say 6 minus the 2, 4 a.m. and max. How many of you all made a mistake in this question? I made a mistake there. Shout out to my editor Esther for spotting this. That shouldn't be 6, that should actually be 6:15, which was the correct time in Trinidad. And when I subtract the 2 hours, I should not get 4 hours, but actually get 4:15 a.m. If you make a mistake, just erase it off and put the correct thing. Love and blessings. 4 identical squares are placed side by side to form the rectangle ABCD. Calculate the difference. This is an SCA question, and they want the difference in the perimeter of the rectangle to the square. This is another one of those questions that are very easy, but people are just be making real mistakes on this question. Work out the answer to see if you fall in the mistake-making category. So what's the perimeter of the square? 4 times the side, right? Yeah, 4 sides, right? So 4 times the side. Question, you have to forgive me, I just writing to you right now. 48 centimeters. And what's the perimeter of the rectangle? So one of the mistakes people will say, well, 1, 2, 3, 4 squares, so multiply the perimeter of these squares by 4 and you get the perimeter of the rectangle. Don't do that. The perimeter represents the distance are wrong. So we need to come and check it out here. This length looking like 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12, and you already know 4 12s is 48, and you have 12 as the width. So we have 2 48s and 2 12s. That's how you find the perimeter of a rectangle. So the perimeter of the R stands for rectangle, is 2 times the length plus the width, or 2 times 48 plus 12. 2 times 60 is 120 cm. We just train down we answer all over here indiscriminately. Another mistake people make is that they stop here. You don't know how much times people will make mistakes and just stop when they feel like they reach the answer. But is this what the question is asking for? Every time you finish a question, Go back and read the question and make sure you answer what the question is asking for. So you see, they actually wanted the difference between the perimeter of the square and the perimeter of the rectangle. So the difference in the perimeter should be 120 minus 48, and we all know that it's going to be how much by 52 plus 7, 72. 72 centimeters. Yeah, that checks out. Now you're finished, and now the 3 marks could run. Another SEA question from 2023. And this is a very interesting question. This question was a point of contention after the exam. I want you to read the question. Those of you all who watch this video and you all just watch this like a Netflix series and you rock back and you're just thinking, this man doing the maths. Yes, I understand that. No. No! I want you all to pause this one for real. Pause this one for real and try this question and you'll realize something interesting. That doesn't happen a lot. Like once in every 4 or 5 years, this might happen in SEA. Something happened in this question. So let me say this line is the weight limit for Keisha's luggage. It was actually over the weight limit by something like 5 kilograms or some kind of thing. That's where it started. 5 kg, right? And then she removed her hair dryer and shampoo and it went under the weight limit by 500 grams, which is way less than 5 kilograms, right? Because 1,000 grams make a kilogram. Remember that. So we reach the interesting part now. She put back the hair dryer and then it gone up by 2 kilograms over the weight limit. And then they ask us, what is the mass of the hair dryer in grams? And the thing that's supposed to intrigue you about this question is we didn't even need to know the first part. So there was some unnecessary information given, which does not happen often in CXC or SEA. Normally, every piece of information given is used in the question. So I didn't really need this. You went down 500, you're throwing the hair dryer and you're going back up over 2 kg. So what it means, the hair dryer would have had a mass of the 500 grams, which took it to the weight limit, plus an additional 2 kilograms, which should be written as 2,000 grams, because we can't do it into grams one time. And that will give us that the mass of the hairdryer is actually 2,500 grams. Not much working required, but a lot of understanding required. This question actually tests something that's going to happen in secondary school. Directed numbers. The idea of negative. But that's another story. Boy, we reached number 33 in this series. Now, this type of question, real nice. All you need to do is learn your work and you know this question. This is a good time to plug the SEA handbook, boy. If you turn to page 69 in the SEA handbook and you continue reading through your definitions, you would see the answer to this question just watching you in your face here, boy. So they want you to write the name of the quadrilateral that matches the properties given. And you're probably wondering where the rest of the question. Look at here. So no lines of symmetry, one pair of parallel sides, one angle greater than a right angle. Okay. So let's just check the symmetry thing first. This is already disqualified. Look how much lines of symmetry there. This has an x2. This has 2 lines of symmetry. So only the parallelogram and the trapezium live to tell the tail for this. So let's see. 1 pair of parallel sides. This has 2 pairs of parallel sides. So I already have all the information I need. This is going to be our friend, the trapezium. Any CXC student watching this, CXC love trapeziums, eh? Look like SEA like trapeziums too. Alright, next one. 2 lines of symmetry, 2 pairs of parallel sides, no right angle. 2 lines, this one disqualified. He has more than 2. 2 lines, 2 pairs of parallel sides, no right angles. This has a right angle, so this disqualified. Right angle, disqualified. This has no lines of symmetry. That just leaves us with our good friend the rhombus. The rhombus has 2 lines of symmetry. It doesn't have any right angles in there. This is obtuse and this is acute. Acute means less than 90. So rhombus getting a little play here too, and SE really loves the rhombus. Watch out that beautiful handwriting now, boy. The best. Alright, Alia, SBA Maths. This is my favorite question in the paper. For real this time. Question 34. Complete the shape on the grid. You see when they bring this question, it's normally come around this number in the paper. You normally just done some really tough questions and you're about to do some even tougher questions. So this will be like a little recess at lunchtime. You just eat up this in the middle of the paper now. But I could give you some tips to do this question. Points that are off the line, you're looking at points. These points that are off the line, you just kind of count how many squares off the line there are. That's 2 squares, so I will go 2 squares up. Will you catch my technique? The technique is to put the vertices first. 1, 2, 1, 2. The patent this technique, boy. 1, 2, 3, bang. So you see when you put the points first now, you're just coming in with a ruler like a boss and you're finishing up your lunchtime here. Now I am doing this freehand. If you do this freehand and the people them exam, you could enter problems there. So don't do that freehand. As a matter of fact, let me try and make it straight. This is correct, but yeah, as you can see, my pencil is a little thick. They need to be this thick, but we're looking good. What are looking like? A rocket ship, because we're going up to the stars, we're going to collect all the marks. Success is on the horizon. A bar graph in SBA Maths. So you know the drill. Pause the video and see if you can do the question before I do it. So yes, indeed, this is a bar graph. We have match 1, match 2, match 3. Notice it's missing the labeling on that vertical axis there. There's no runs, but it's divided into sections. So let's see if we can make use of that. The total runs scored in match 1 and match 2 was 100. It means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 adds up to give me 100. Match 1, match 2. I ain't really watch the next part of the question here, but I just feel I had to do this. I sense in it. One of these is really 20 runs. Let me see if I was correct. How many runs are scored in match 3? Yeah. So match 3 equal 80 runs. But with a marks pass for this, you know. Since I'm in primary school, they're giving us questions like this. This is a very popular question. You see this mean question? Read this question, pause the video and see if you can do the question. So from this table, we have his marks in 5 subjects. Actually, we have his marks in 4 subjects. One is missing and I think we need to find that one. But additional information that we were given, mean mark 68. So all of this added up divided by 5 is equal to 6. So to reverse it is what you do. So the idea is you need to get the total marks that this guy make. He's in Paul, and since his mean is 68, that means in every subject he's averaging 68. And if there's 5 subjects, 68 times 5 is some kind of number. So the shortcut to multiply that is to multiply 70 by 5. 7 5s are 35, and it was 2 short, so 2 5s 10, so minus the 10 from 350, 340 is the answer. That makes sense? So what do you think I'm going to do now? I'm going to add up the other marks to see how much he reached up to. Because remember, all his marks need to add up to 340. So let's add up the other marks. 7 and 3 is 10 and 5 is 15. I can take this 1 and pay it by this 4. That'll be 5. 5 and 5 is 10. And 8 is 18. And 7 and 18 is 25. So he scored 340 marks in all, 255 in all the subjects except maths. So which means in maths, his score is 340 minus 255, 85. Not bad. But we're looking to get more than 9 SEA. We're trying to get 100 or as close to 100 as possible. And if you continue watching my videos, guaranteed. So a lot of people said this was one of the toughest questions in the SBA Maths paper, and it's one of my favorites. So let me show you how I do this question. But before I do it, pause the video and try to come up with a nice, neat way to do this and see if you can explain it to your little cousin, child, whatever. So the idea with this question is that they give you the cost of the pies, the cost of the donuts, and then they give you a situation. The situation is that Tara bought an equal number of pies and donuts. So let's say she bought 10 pies and 10 donuts. Well, we don't know it's 10. That's actually what we're trying to find. How many pies did she buy? But she spent $70 for this. So if we know the cost of one pie, the cost of one donut, we have a way to figure this out. But the situation that we have in this question is that we weren't given the cost of one pie. We were given the cost of 2 pies. It's $5. And the cost of 3 donuts is $10. So here's what I will do. If 2 pies cost $5, 1 pie will cost $5 over 2, which is $2.50. But let's just leave it like that. Similarly, 1 donut will cost 10 divided by 3. But remember what Tara do. Tara have the equal number of pies and donuts. So she have like a 1 donut, 1 pie package and multiplied by some number. 1 donut and 1 pie is the 5 over 2 plus the 10 over 3. Let me do some fraction gymnastics here. LCM of 2 and 3 is 6. 2 could go into 6 3 times. 3 by 5 is 15. 3 could go into 6 2 times. 2 by 10 is 20. You know how to do these things, boy. You know how to do these things. We end up with a nice 35 over 6, which we're leaving like that. We're not going to trouble fractions unless we have to. So to find the number of pies or the number of donuts, we just need to divide the $70 by the 35 and 6, which is the cost of one of those like package of a pie and a donut. We don't know how to work with no division, so we had to switch that to multiplication. It's going to work out really nice because 35 can go into 72 times. You see, keeping it in fractions. Come out good in the end, which is 2 times 6 is 12. 12 pies, 12 donuts, 24 pies and donuts in all. But a beautiful question for you to analyze and work Rate it out of 10 in the comments in terms of difficulty. Ta-ta-ta-ta! We finally reached the hardest question in SCA from this year. Way boy. Alia, see if you could get this paused, sit down and try and do this question. Toughest question in Trinidad and Tobago for like 10, 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds. I have a plan, Alia. Here's my plan. See if this makes sense. So there's 3 instances that can happen. I know this size from the diagram looking the same, but the entire length of the board was 15 centimeters, right? And if there's a 4 centimeter overlap, that means this length is 11. Similarly, on this end, this length here would be 11. Let's see how my plan coming in there. We already know the overlap is 4. This length here, I know it looks like the same, but it's not 11. Think about it. Because remember, the whole thing is 15, and there's an overlap here. So that's 4 gone, and then the next overlap here. So that's the next 4 gone from the 15. So that's 15 minus 4 plus 4, 15 minus 8, which is 7. So all these in betweeners actually 7, and then there's a 4 here. Catch it? And that going all the way until. So how many 4s we gonna get? We know we're gonna get 2 11s. So because we're gonna get the length of the entire decoration. So the end pieces were 11 and there were 2 of them, so that's 22. The overlaps are 7. How many of them do we get, boy? 1, 2. Well, it will be 13 minus the 2 on the end. 1, 2. So I'm guessing there are going to be 11 7s. So of the pieces in the middle, we'll have from the second all the way up to the 12th. So once again, the 7 centimeters we have from the second all the way up to the 12. And I know 12 minus 2 is 10, but you need to count the second one as well. So it's actually 11 pieces of these 7 centimeter lengths we have. Or there are 13 pieces in all, and you minus the 2 pieces on the outside, so 11 pieces of the 7. Alright, so the oval, oh man, I was using the wrong way. I meant middle pieces, they are 7 centimeters in length, and there were how many of them? 11 of them. So that's 77 centimeters. Just to get the overlaps now, the overlaps, their length is 4 centimeters. How many of them do we have? I expect to get 12. 1, 2, there's one after every Bristol board, except the 13th one. So there'll be 12 4s. You understand how I break up the question? So recap with me. The total length has to be the 2 end pieces, which are 11 centimeters each. So that's 22. Bang. Plus the middle pieces, which are 7 centimeters long, and there are 11 of them, so 7 times 11 is 77. And finally, the overlaps, which are 4 centimeters, and there are 12 overlaps, 12 4s are 48. Adding up all of this, 22 and 48 is like 20 and 50, which is 70 plus 77, 147 centimeters. And just like that, you're walking away with all the marks. Did you get it? I love that question. You love that question? That's a sweet question. Love and blessings.